Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is Thinking's Hard, and we are doing part 2 of the New Player's Guide to Starcraft. In this part, we're going to be showing you how to enable your in-game timer, advantages to a strong economy, the difference in playstyles, aggressive, defensive, and the in-between, and the advantages and disadvantages of those playstyles. So let's get right in here and see that to go and enable our game timer, we have to go into their menu and go to options. Here we have all sorts of fun things. I don't know why I'm just like completely low or completely extreme. Come on. Ultra. Extreme. Ugh, suggested extreme. Oh, that's just really beautiful. Moving down to gameplay, here's the show game timer option right here. This is what you're looking for, and this will put a game timer above your minimap that shows you the in-game time. It's not real-life time, it's in-game time, which moves faster. So this will help you a lot with timings and stuff like that. You'll learn more of that in future parts, but it's just a good idea to have it on. Alright, from there, let's talk about the advantages of strong economy. In the last part, we had you, and by we I mean I had you guys, learn to continually make your probes, or SCVs, or drones. Really hate that I'm so biased with Protoss that almost all of my terms are like probe, pylon, gate, and it's like, no wait, not everyone plays Protoss. Shit. Anyway, the advantage of a strong economy, if you didn't fully understand it in last part, the reason you're doing this is so that you can have a better economy than your opponent. You want your economy to beat theirs. If you have a strong economy, you can constantly produce units and research. Eventually, at a certain point in the game, you do stop making probes, but this is more for the higher levels of play, and it's something you typically don't do if you're in the lower leagues, and this is the New Player's Guide to Starcraft, so no one here should be above the Gold League until probably like part 50 or so, when I start getting into pseudo quasi metagame. I don't even know, to be honest. I have no freaking clue. There will be some interesting things. Eventually, I want this guide to like cover everything possibly. Like, this should be like the universal guide to StarCraft. Like, start at part 1, and by part 100 you know pretty much everything there is to know about the game. Like, even why the textures look the way they do. That probably won't be part of the guide. To be honest, I will not tell you why textures look the way they do. I don't even know, nor will I probably ever know, because I really don't care. Moving on to the playstyles, let's start with the aggressive playstyle. We all know what an aggressive is. We know what it means, the aggressor, stuff like that. Well, in StarCraft, you are the aggressor, my good sir and or ma'am. You take the army and you take the fight to the opponent's doorstep, what your goal is. And now a lot of aggressors get this mixed up. They think that they attack once early on and that's it. They should win there or they lose. No, false. That is bad. Get that thought out of your mind right now. Your job as an aggressor is to do a war of attrition. I think that's right. It's where you strike at them a lot in a lot of different places, and you wear them down little bit by little bit, but not really losing anything yourself. So a good example would be a Protoss with like 3 stalkers going in, killing a marine in a group of marines, and backing out without losing a stalker, going back in a little bit later, taking another marine out. What he's done there, he's just cost the opponent 100 minerals, and he hasn't lost anything. Nothing in that engagement was lost for him. Now, you need to learn when your first push isn't going to work, because a lot of your aggressor techniques are going to be attacks that can potentially win you the game. Now, I say that. These aren't attacks that will win you the game. These aren't magical things that, like, you learn the build and woohoo, I win. No. No. You need to have in mind the potential of knowing when he's defended well enough that you want to just pull back and secure your lead. Take your expansion and continue. So keep that in mind. And we're going to move on to the defensive playstyle, where as the defensive playstyle, you want to go for a generally, fairly early expansion. I mean, you don't want to go too early, but you also don't want to go too late, and you want to produce enough units to defend an attack. In that same example with those Marines and the Stalkers, if you are the defending side and you have those Marines, your job is to try to push him back without losing anything. You don't want to lose those 2 Marines. You want to, potentially, it would be great if you'd killed one of those Stalkers, but really all you're looking for here is to cause enough damage to get him to fall back. That way you can continue with your expansion and you can continue with your research. As the defensive style player, you will be going for high-end, play. You're going to be going for the mid to late game. 20, 30, 40-minute mark is when you're expected to win the game. Now, as a defensive player, tech up. Get your research done. Get your advanced tiered units done. And prepare for when you finally do move out. Eventually, your plan is to have your army beat his army. Obviously, that's the entire goal of the game, but as the defensive player, you wait a while to do that. And I really don't agree with holding back all the way. I always think a defensive player should be harassing for fairly most of the game. Just enough to keep the opponent back. You don't want him attacking, and a really good defense is a strong offense, but a really good defense is also a fairly weak offense, but one that scares your opponent. And the in-between would be the player who, pokes a little here, pokes a little there, while, really focusing half on defense, half on offense. Really, don't quote me on this. I'll probably touch it in another episode, but I really don't think that this is the kind of playstyle you should really be looking forward to. I think, and again, don't quote me on this, I think it's more of a Grandmaster style where you're being extremely aggressive with 2, 3 Stalkers, but at the same time, you're doing things to your base that, a defensive style player would be doing. And the advantages are pretty clear. The advantage of being the aggressor is that you're putting the pressure on the opponent. The pressure is not on you. All of your pressure is just to make the attack work and to know when to pull back without losing so much that he wins. That's crucial. Now, the advantages of defensive style play are that you generally get a really good boost in economy or tech over your opponent, which will enable you to switch from, sitting back and doing nothing to offensive whenever you wish, pretty much. If you play perfectly defensive, you counter all of his attacks, generally your opponent's kind of worried. I mean, that happens. The disadvantage of being the aggressor: if that attack fails, if you do not pull back soon enough, you can put yourself in a position where you completely, utterly lose, and there's nothing you can do about it. Perfect micro, perfect pulling of the probes and SCVs will not save you. The disadvantage of being defensive: you can't anticipate everything. You could be anticipating every rush except DTs, and then he hits you with those cloaked DTs, and you don't have a detector, and you completely lose, even though your defense could have protected you against any other attack that opponent could have thrown at you. And that's about all I want to talk about this time, since I said pulling probes, I'll mention that really quick. Again, it's really something that shouldn't be attempted so much in the lower leagues. It's when someone's attacking you inside your base, and you use your workers as a form of defense, but it's really touchy. If you do it too soon, you can lose them all. If you do it too late, you're already dead. You have to really play with it, and eventually you'll just learn when's the perfect time to pull your probes. It's not something that can truly be taught. It's more of an experience thing. So, I'll leave you guys with that. This has been part 2 of the New Player's Guide to StarCraft. I hope you guys are liking the series. I know I am. I'm really hoping that I can bring you guys so much entertainment and information from these series. If there's anything at all you think I should cover, if there's anything I forgot to cover, if there's something that should be added on to something, let me know, and I will make a special episode just for that. This has been Thinking Hard.